Hello, my friends. Welcome to a special Christmas Eve slash morn of Christmas Day episode of Blue Review on the amazing Henry Covert channel. Once again, I'm indulging in libations, and wow, I want to talk about a movie that I'm watching now. I'd like to review it. It is on Blu-ray. It's not kind of in limbo. It's not like a TV show that's getting ready to come out on Blu-ray or a movie in the theater. It is on Blu-ray. Hold on, I'm going to pause it so I can show you. Okay, so this, Bernardo Bertolucci's Last Tango in Paris, 1973, with Marlon Brando, Maria Schneider, Jean-Pierre Léaud. It's rated X in the theater. It looks like it's been commuted to a. Is it unrated on here? The VHS tape that came in the 90s was X, and then they made it NC-17. I can't find a rating in here. I guess it just doesn't matter. All right, so let me turn on the subtitles. I'm watching some of this as I go. Haven't watched it in a while. And I've got 16 different subtitle options. This print is beautiful. Vittorio Storaro is the cinematographer. This might be his most famous movie. As far as genre movies, he shot Dario Argento's Birth of Crystal Plumage prior to this. I want to say he did Reds, maybe even Apocalypse Now. I could be wrong. But I always think of this movie. It's stunningly beautiful. Shot in Paris. Italian director Bertolucci had done some interesting, I don't know if you want to call them new wave, but he was treading some different ground, kind of post Michelangelo Antonioni territory. Antonioni I have not reviewed on this channel, I don't think, but I really love his early movies. I think the only one I own on Blu-ray is La Notte. I'm going to add to that, though. Bertolucci he co-wrote with Dario Argento Once Upon a Time in the West for Sergio Leone. I think, like Argento, he was a critic maybe for a while, but he became a full-fledged director before Argento, I think. But he did The Conformist with Jean-Louis Trintignant and I believe Dominique Sanda. I have that on Blu-ray. That's a really, really fascinating, very stylized film, taking place in World War II about kind of fascism and then kind of confusion over one's sexual identity, I guess, is a subtext. This movie is absolutely stunning to behold. It was a really infamous erotic film. It came out, it was X-rated in the theaters, and this is the days when X-rated movies were still in theaters before everything became consigned to R and then triple X for pornography. Though some people called this film pornography. It's one of those movies it's really just ravishing to look at. Maria Schneider is probably, at this stage in her life, one of the most gorgeous and desirable women on earth. Marlon Brando, this is kind of his mid-40s, and he's handsome. He's incredible. He was starting to lose his hair, but it's kind of long and gray. He's got that really early 70s look. He's got the trench coat, and he's very sullen and tormented as he kind of lopes around Paris. It's very existentialist. And he kind of, I don't want to say he's stalking, but he's kind of like following nearly behind Maria Schneider's character. Her name is Sean. His name is Paul, but therein hangs one of the major conceits of the film is that she rents out this apartment and he meets her there. I mean, not planned by either of them. And they have a very quick primal sexual encounter. And then they decide they're going to keep meeting there, but they're not going to tell each other their names. There are no names here, Brando says. Um, Everything about this movie is like stylish. It's decadent. It's sensual. The music is just amazing. Oliver Nelson, great jazz musician. What's the one he did the blues and the whole truth? That's not it, but it's kind of like that. He arranged the music. Gato Barbieri did the melodies and solos, and I don't know. This is one of those movies that is so kind of chic and stylish. It's like way ahead of its time. It's as beautiful today and sumptuous as it was probably, God, fucking 48 years ago. This has a really grand, well, it's not music, it's very sweeping, it's very dramatic. It's romantic, but, it's also, this is a taboo area, this kind of late middle aged man, and his wife has committed suicide. And she's been kind of kind of a bane of his existence. She cheated on him. She's done all kinds of horrible things. And he's like, he visits her body kind of laid out before the funeral and like curses her. And it's very raw performance by Brando. I understand a lot of it was improvised. A lot of it was a lot of his own deep emotional feelings about these kind of things. I don't know, man. It's powerful. It's one of those things to where you see a man, he's lost everything, he's lost love, he's lost hope, and now he's losing himself, literally like with no name and everything, in this affair with this much younger, very, very coquettish, just lush, gorgeous girl, and it's a validation of his manhood. Now, I mean, a lot of people knock this movie in modern times. It's not politically correct by modern standards. There's different theories about Bertolucci having used like Brando to actually rape her on camera or insert butter in her anus to sodomize her on camera and then film it. Now that is in the plot. It is simulated that he what's the word? Um, what is the word? Um, like Kali jelly. That word. Where you kind of yeah, my brain is blank. But nastiness, yeah, basically just my brain is so blank. Uh, Makes it easier to insert things into certain orifices. And lubrication. That's it, lubrication. And it is simulated that he uses like melting butter to lubricate her, and then he sodomizes her. And it's kind of a dominance kind of thing. But you always get the impression that her character likes it, or there's a debasement to it. And that's the thing, is there are these relationships in real life. I mean, I've had elements in a couple of mine in recent years that kind of blew my mind to realize how much is out there. I was taught that all women are demure, and you can't be rough with women. You've got to be gentle, and everything is based on. Of course, everything's based on consent, but everything's based on this kind of very pure, chaste, one thing at a time kind of thing. Men are not supposed to be too aggressive, or they're misogynistic. That's the generation before me, the baby boomers, when the sensitive male kind of came to the fore with, the Woody Allens and the Alan Aldas of the world, which was this generation that this movie came out in. So Louis Brando's character is kind of almost a repudiation of that. He's almost saying that a lot of women do like to be dominated, do like forced, not rape, but in a safe space, they like aggressive sex, a feeling of domination, a feeling of submission. And I've come to realize that a lot of women do like this. I mean, my generation and generation after me, millennials, it's pretty common. I mean, women are not all prudes, and they're not all, these roles are not so stratified and boxed in. This movie got a little, like I said, it got a little bit of modern day notoriety when Maria Schneider had said in a later interview that Bertolucci kind of shocked her with this scene with the sodomy. And some people jumped on this bandwagon against Bertolucci and for Maria Schneider, even though Maria Schneider said she didn't need defending, it was fine. But some modern Hollywood pundits and actors and actresses jumped in and said Bertolucci and Brando are rapists, motherfucker. I mean, they're viewing it through the lens of today is kind of very, the cancel culture, the Me Too movement, and the Me Too movement is very valid, but you can't apply it to everything. Art is not to be canceled on a whim. I always say check your morality at the door when you're engaging in a work of art. I know it's difficult in film where you have real living beings performing certain acts or simulating certain acts. It's not like in a comic book where you draw it or a novel where you write it. It's like it's flesh, it's real people. But like the actress Jessica Chastain notably went on a rant against this film and against Bertolucci and Brando. And my view, it's fuck Jessica Chastain. I've seen her in a lot of movies, and I keep reading about how she's one of the most acclaimed actresses, and so beautiful and so brilliant. And I gotta say, fuck that. I don't find her beautiful. I don't find her talented. Again, I have an extreme minority opinion. I have no use for her whatsoever. So when I read that she had these views, it didn't really surprise me. When her body of work, when her entire body of work cannot stand up to Last Tango in Paris, a singular body of work, then her view on it is absolutely worthless. Totally worthless. Fuck her. So yeah, I'm in a blunt mood tonight. No, but I'm always kind of skirting the edge here with these things. But I think sometimes you've got to call it like you see it. You've got to say, hey, come on, this is art, man. This means things to people. This resonates with people. Are any Jessica Chastain's movies going to be talked about in 20 years with the passion and the controversy and the exhilaration? The Last Tango in Paris is 48 years later. No, and if they're so, fine. But we're here in the here and now, and this movie has proven itself time and again. It's about sex. It's about connection in an unconventional way. And I don't know, man. It's a lot about the male ego, and so of course men relate, especially middle-aged men. When I first saw this movie, I was very young, relatively young, early 20s. I am a middle-aged man now, and then I have made love with women much younger who are unconventional and who like to be dominated. I mean, this is not unusual. This is not weird. This is, Americans are so prudish with their sexual, the way they express sex or talk about sex or talk around sex. And that's just not healthy, man. I'm a sex positive. I'm not a sex negative, as Wilhelm Reich would say. Last Thing on Paris is about a lot of things. It's like an existential dive into this man's world as he transforms through the chrysalis of this nameless, almost random affair with this young, beautiful woman who's like a vessel for his middle age angst, his regrets, his faults, his foibles, his failings. And she receives that. And, the thing is, her character has a boyfriend. He's a filmmaker, played by Jean-Pierre Léaud. And Léaud played in a lot of movies in the 60s, like in the Francois Truffaut films, where he plays the Antoine Doinel character. And also in movies like Masculine, Feminine, and Pasolini's Porcile, where he's kind of the young, sympathetic, cool guy, in this movie, I find him repellent, and I don't know if that's on purpose. It's like you're trying to take him, the younger, more hip cosmopolitan French guy who you're used to sympathizing with in French movies of this period, the New Wave, and pitting him against Brando, who's like this relic from another era, this kind of different kind of masculinity, this kind of tormented, frustrated, maybe overly aggressive kind of masculinity. But Brando's character has a lot of wit and charm and self-deprecation. His flaws, and his pain and angst are right under the surface at all times. And when it comes out, it's profound. You know, it's touching. It's powerful. And Maria Schneider is the perfect mirror to which to bring this out. Leota is like a foil who's like, hey, I'm hip and I'm with this young woman, Sean, and we're these perfect, beautiful young French hipsters in the early 70s. But he doesn't have the wisdom or the depth or the sorrow that Paul Marlon Brando has accrued over his life. And this movie takes you on this journey. I don't know. It's so 70s. So the Storaro is just a master of lighting, of color, of technique. This is a deep movie, man. This is kind of one of the ones I want to talk about, like Bad Timing, that I did. And I don't mind talking about this one. I'm a little tipsy because I'm a little less inhibited and a little more. I'm like the drunken master of film reviews now. But there's so many classic, beautiful passages in this film. I could start crying thinking about this movie. It's meant so much to me over the years, and it's a difficult movie nowadays for people, I think. But it's raw. I think it's real. I think it is of its time, and yet timeless. How can you watch it and not fall in love with Jean? And yet, is she a victim of Paul, or is Paul a victim of her ultimately? Or you know what I mean? It's this weird power game where two people want to escape who they are in their day-to-day life, and they want to meet in this kind of cloistered, hermetic space where they have uninhibited sex, but not just that, where they talk about their feelings and their past without names, but they relate, they share their rawest selves. They become mirrors of each other. I don't know, man. I haven't watched it in a while, and just the images are so powerful on this high def Blu-ray. I mean, there's some great passages where John is talking about, a certain kind of man she wants, and you think she's talking about Jean-Pierre Léaud or somebody a lot younger, and Brando's like, what do you mean, what kind of man? And he's kind of jealous and kind of confused. He's just like, you are that man, you are that man, and you think, could something really, really real happen between them that would transcend this place where they meet with no names, this secreted away affair beyond her life with the director and film director, and his life kind of mourning his wife that he has so much rage toward, and he's just kind of glum and sorrowful all the time about it, and self-pitying. And in the end, he towards the end, he takes this huge chance, and he's like, starts following her. She, at this point, after she said, you are that man, and made that declaration, she's changed her mind. She's pulling back. She's afraid of the real him. Like, maybe the real him isn't going to jive with her in the outside world, the wider world. And it's kind of heartbreaking. The fantasy can't bear the brunt of reality, but he's ready to let go of his wife. He's ready to let go of all this. And you don't know, you're not quite sure where she is, and she becomes afraid, and he chases her through Paris. They get to this kind of open, kind of, I don't know what you would call it, It's not like a bar. It's like a, I don't know. There's all these seats and people are hanging out, and I don't know what you call it. It's kind of in the middle of a courtyard in a town square, and they dance, and that's the proverbial last tango in Paris. And they go to a table, where people are drinking, and he's like begging her not to run away, and it's really, oh my god, she's like trying to get rid of him, and she like masturbates him to climax, not in your face, but it's very obvious what's happening. Though the first time you watch it, it might be a little like, huh, okay, but yeah, that's what's happening. Like I said, it's very crude. It's very dealing with very crude, very powerful, primal kind of things with people, their sexuality and their desperation. Um, and after that, he still won't leave, and he follows her to her apartment. And there's like this just, beautiful, beautiful passage where, they're there, and her dad was like a colonel or something in the army in World War II, like with the French partisans or whatever. He doffs the guy's hat, and he says, I followed you through Africa, Asia, Ethiopia, whatever, and I found you. Yeah, he says, well, he puts on the hat. He's like, how do you like your hero? Over easy, sunny side up. I followed you through Africa, through Asia, and I found you, and I love you, and I want to know your name. And she's like, Jean, and then she shoots him in the stomach. And he kind of staggers to the balcony and says, our children will remember. Meaning you wonder if she's pregnant by him, or he wants her to be pregnant by him to carry on what's now gone. And she calls the police and says, a man followed me. He tried to rape me. No, I don't know his name. Oh my God. It was devastating. It's devastating. So, you really need to watch this movie if you've never seen it. I'm sure most of you have seen it. Some of you love it, some of you hate it. Like, whatever. But really, I think it's Brando's masterpiece as an actor. Bertolucci's as a filmmaker. Maria Schneider's like emblematic role. She's also really good in Antonioni's The Passenger with Jack Nicholson. I really love that movie. But I think it's a movie that, the more I think about it, it's really, like I said, it's of its time, and yet it's timeless. It's really kind of a clash between these two generations of Brando and Maria Schneider and their characters, and this idea, can this fantasy, uh, the man who wants the younger woman who's not so jaded and horrible like his wife was, and the younger woman who is tired of the hipster boyfriend and wants this older, mysterious man to kind of guide her, mentor her, and the two of them explore their sexuality together. Um, it's a powerful fantasy, and it gets often a reality. Some of us have lived this for real, but it's a powerful, passionate thing. But can it bear the hard, sharp, cold light of reality? I don't know. In this movie, apparently it can't, but the journey to discover, to try to see if it can, um, is worth taking. So, anyway, I have spoken. Last Tango in Paris, Blu ray. Get it, watch it. Love you guys.